replacing the filters in a Wellsys water filter or any other water filter that you have filters for. So first thing to do is you pop the cover off, push down, and pop out. And then you remove the cover. It's fairly simple. It has springs to make it easy to pop out. So now what we want to do is replace the sediment filter, the pre-carbon, the UF membrane, post-carbon, and the T3 carbon. So we have all our replacement cartridges, everything in here. We're going to do one at a time. So the key things to have is either an extra thing so you can have extra hose to utilize. You want scissors, and it's helpful if you want additional changes of things that connectors. So you can replace those as well. And you want, I like a 5-gallon bucket, so you can fill up the water. Okay, so we're going to get started on our first cartridge.
Before you get started, you have to either check behind the unit or under the sink. You're going to see a shutoff valve, which is that white thing with the little blue top. You got to turn the water off by twisting that, and that will shut the water off. If you don't have one there, I recommend installing it. Otherwise, you're going to have it under your sink or wherever it's connected to your water. So you can see this valve here. You just turn that and shut it off. It's much easier if you have one on the unit, and I recommend just installing one while you're replacing the unit. But otherwise, you're going to see it under the sink here, connected to your cold water. That's where your water's coming in from your regular water line. It might be connected to other things. So since we have one under or right next to our unit, we are just going to turn the water off here. So we're going to just twist that valve. You can check the connections on here, but we're going to just twist that blue valve on that, and we're going to also unplug the unit before we start making any changes to the cartridges.
So with the first cartridge you want to place is track the line that's coming in from the unit and come to it. So this is the first cartridge we're going to replace here. So the key thing is, it's really simple. We just pull these things out, pop this out. It is going to leak. So this is why the bucket comes in handy. You can put it in the bucket, and then these little connectors are nice. So you can pull that out, pop that out. Then what we want to do is connect the back line here. Let me bring this back here. So the back line here, we have a shut-off valve. So we're going to shut that valve off right here. You can see that valve. So we make sure no water is coming into the unit. So that's completely shut off. So no water is going to come into the unit. Another thing you want to always have, you also want to have some towels. So first put a towel on this thing here, because if that gets wet, it will not work, because that is set up for when that gets wet, it shuts off the water. So now that we have the water shut off to the unit, we want to connect another hose with our line. We can cut our hose with some scissors. Fortunately, we already have a pre-cut one. So we're going to pop this off and connect it to this. So we have our thing in here going to the unit. We're going to undo this. So you just push in, pull the cable out, and then we're going to connect this new hose in here. So this allows us to get the new filter set up. So now we have this set up here. Now we can just turn the water on here. If you don't have this installed, you're going to have to do that and go under the sink back and forth, which creates a lot more problems. So, like I said, we pulled out the UF membrane. So we want to find our UF membrane for our new thing. So now we have our new UF membrane. We'll take the packaging off here. I like to just throw everything in the bucket so then I know what my trash is. In here, take that off. Now on this, you can see there will be arrows, some coming in, some going out. So you want to look at those arrows, right? So this one was labeled out, arrow, and then in. So we're going to put the in here. We're going to put that coming in, connect that. So just pop that little piece on, connect it. We're going to run water through this to make sure it's nice and clean for about 10 to 15 seconds. So we're going to turn the valve on in the back and run water. So as you can see, water's being run through. We're just making sure that's all cleared out. And then that's good. And then we can turn the water off. Set that up. Now we can go back to our unit, take the new filtered thing, come into where that was connected. So this is coming in, right? So the orange is coming in, is how we have it set up. So we pop that one in, and like I said, we can replace these. And then this is coming out to the next one. So this is coming out, but we can leave that off for right now, so we can go through that process. So the next one here, we're going to take this one off. Now down here, just pop this one out. So pop that cable out, pull it out here, pop the top one off. Right? So now that we know that comes in, so this would be our alkaline mineral filter. So now we take that part off. Find our filter to replace it. Tops off, like I said. Throw everything in here. We're going to connect it to run water to it. So connect it in the in. Connect it in the in. Turn that on. Let it filter out. We're going to do the same process for all the filters. So that looks good. We can now turn that one off. Unhook this one. It gets a little wet, so we know orange is coming in. We got that. Blue is going out, so we connect this to our UF membrane in here because we're following the same flow as before. I'm going to push this down over to the other side, pop it in, and we go here. We want to check where this is going next. So let's see where this filter is coming from next. So pop that one off. This one's coming back into the next filter down below. And then that's the TCR filter. And then from there, we're going into from the TCR filter, You then want to do the pre-carbon filter. So I said take this one off, pop these off, toss that in there. Make sure it's a pre-carbon filter. In here. Check that it's going in. Turn this on. Let it run. See how the black is coming out? That's why we run it. You want to make sure all that black stuff is coming out. And I don't want it to splatter too much. That's good. Turn it back off. That's set up. Pop this out. When the pre-carbon comes in, pop that one in. Make sure it's set up. Then set up that one. Then our last filter is the sediment filter. I'm going to pop out the sediment filter. Sediment filters out. Let's find the sediment filter. So we got the sediment filter here. Pop this out. Place connected to the end. And then turn this on. Filter this out. Let it run for a bit. Turn that off. Is it coming in? Make sure that's all set up. That's in there. We're going to do a post-carbon filter. Just follow this along, put it in. If you want, you can look at the manuals of your unit to see which directions filter comes in and out to get everything set up correctly. But this is how I would set it up. So again, post-carbon in, and then let it run for a bit. So again, it's going to spit out some black stuff. That's why you let it run for a little bit, clean it out. And then that's good to go. And then you want to install this in the last place. So we're going to pop these out. We're going to actually replace them with new ones. So make it easier. So we got this coming in here. So it makes it easier to remove it in the future. And this going out, right? So we're going to replace that. Now this one didn't have the new attachments, so we want to replace those ones in there. Okay, now that once you have them all connected, you just want to go through and double check before you turn the water back on, and just make sure everything's nice and tight and won't come undone. So just give a little pull on each one, right? Make sure the water line's in. Okay, everything feels nice and tight. Now we want to start the unit on. We want to plug it back in, turn it on in the back. There's a switch in the back where you turn it on and off. You can see here. So you come back here. There's a switch that you just flip to turn it off. Obviously, you got to plug it back in. And then here, the defining moment, is you're going to twist, connect that back into the back unit and make sure it runs well. Okay, so we took off our line, reconnected the line to the back of the unit, make sure everything's nice and secure, cleaned up everything, wiped away any wetness that we might have made by splatter, all that stuff. Now we're going to come back. We're going to turn the unit back on. We're going to make sure our towels are in place and check to see if there's any leaks that are happening. If there's leaks, we obviously turn it off at that valve. So let me just turn it back on here. We remove the line, put that back in here. So we have a thing to quickly turn it off just in case there's any leaks. So we just want to leave that towel there. We can hear all the filters fill up. We could have drained our reservoir. Obviously, it will take some time to fill back up with the new filters. So there's the old water in there for a little while until everything's running. But you can hear all the filters run through, which all sounds good. I'm not feeling anything wet, no leaks. Everything feels nice and dry. You can fill it up, see if it's working. A few errors people make is they forget to turn the unit back on. They don't filter out the filters beforehand. That's why we showed you how to do it. So everything looks good. Don't have any issues. Can remove this. Like I said, it seems really dry. Remove my towel. Put this back on. This comes in at an angle. You push in here, put those little pegs in at an angle, push down, and just pop it into place. And then I can move this back to the wall. And that's it. that's how you install filters on a Wellsys water filtration system or any water filtration system. If you're looking to order one or replace filters, you can hit the links below and get the links from our website, and so you can have filters sent to you directly and replace the filters yourself. Fairly simple. Hopefully this was helpful, and take care.